And it is Invoker. Okay, so now it's offlane Batrider, plain and simple.
Yeah, Bat Rider at the 3, and they get to get ultimate last pick for their carry, which, yeah, fair enough. I mean, you know what it's going to have to deal with in terms of the carry matchup, but now you get to see the exact lane, which might be more important, right? In terms of actually picking something that's going to survive long enough and build fast enough to do anything against a Medusa anyway.
Yeah, and I like Invoker. Again, I think it was going to be one of the more important heroes of the patch, with heroes like Faceless Void being so impactful of the previous patch. But you pick it really here just to counter out the Medusa. Of course, EMP, so nice, as well as just all of your spells. It's where Medusa never really wants to get a BKB too early, but Invoker almost forces you to. And then you end up being one item behind your opposing carry, and that's kind of a scary position to be in. One thing to be worried about, however, is this is a real easy gank for Wolf Team to make. You have Puck Tusk, Invoker's going to be up on his hill, and his hill is not safe. You are going to get stuck in those shards, you are going to get spammed out, and it's a pretty easy kill. It's where I think reactively, you got to be pretty careful with how you're showing on these supports, both the Clockwork and the Techies. They can make those TP rotations, and Techies is one of the scariest TP rotations, because of course, it does so much damage with the Blast Off, but make sure your Invoker doesn't die too many times, because that is just a super brain dead gank that Wolf Team can always make. And then Invoker starts to slow down. He starts to fall into that Tricore, because again, these NA teams, they keep on running the Tricores. They just do not like giving away any of the farm. All three cores want something. And of course, that's where you start stepping on toes. That's where your Midases maybe look a little bit too passive. It's where I think, especially for Felt, we've seen this Batrider before, and we've seen it just fall off the face of the earth, where you make one mistake, you get one item too early or too late, and then suddenly you're just not a hero anymore, and you have to give everything to Paradise and Soldier just to hope that you have a chance in that game. And versus Medusa, again, margin for error is very slim. It's where very easily, if HFN hits his timings, 25 minutes into the game, you could have an unkillable Medusa going for your high ground with an Aegis.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, as you mentioned, that Tricore's thing, back in Tour 2, Tour 3 DPC of the this last season, we were seeing a lot of that as well, but we were also seeing the requisite focus on the lanes in North America that kind of made that okay, where you had three cores farming, but you were meant to win your lanes, so you had that sort of space. Now, obviously, they'd still like to win the lanes, but they're not necessarily drafting specifically for it, and then you get into these scenarios where you have three heroes who need to farm, and you may not have the space to do so because someone like Wolf Team are just running right at you, right? Taking fights, taking objectives, and taking away that space to farm in the first place.
Yeah, and I like that punch ban. I
Mm-hmm.
think it's pretty smart here, just knowing that A, Paradise plays it, but also you want to ban out heroes that are going to be able to force you into those awkward situations pre-BKB, and Pudge certainly is one of those. I don't know how Medusa really runs away from a Pudge, as well as once you pop the Flesh Heap, you really don't take that much damage. It's where Medusa is a great hero, but you need a Daedalus to actually get through a lot of that beef, a lot of the strength cores that end up being kind of problematic for you. And I do wonder what Paradise is thinking right now in regards to where he looks. And there you go. Lycan gets banned out. They do need an offlaner. And Wolf Team, yep,
Okay.
you ban out Lycan. You have to ban out pretty much all three of the creep heroes. So they let through the Beastmaster. And in a lot of situations, I think a lot of teams value the Beastmaster over the Lycan, just because Beastmaster maybe feels a little bit more useful through stages of the game, just because you don't have that hard timer on the shapeshift. You also can go for a slightly different build. Lycan always gets wolves. You can't not get wolves on Lycan, but you can get axes on Beastmaster. And they
Hmm.
go for Drow Ranger, something that Paradise has played before in this tournament already. I don't know. I'm going to really have to see a lot from him this game, because you are also very naturally playing versus a Puck here, and a Puck that is going to look for you early on and easily in these fights. I'm just a little bit concerned, because Wolf Team, they've got that Death Ball. They've got that inner beasted Medusa that's just going to run around, cause you problems. Is where Paradise needs a whole lot of farm for this game to go well.
Yeah, he needs a lot of farm, and he needs to stay safe from multiple heroes that can just jump the backline or deploy damage past, well, kind of a non-existent front line even. You take a look at Phelps' lineup, there really isn't anyone who's that tanky. Everyone is going to want to avoid just that frontline fight, so it's going to get a little bit awkward for them. Their positioning has to be fantastic, or ideally, if you're Felt, you need to be the team initiating all of these fights instead of reacting to the aggression of your opponents.
Yeah, and it is, I think, slightly unfortunate. I think a lot of what Wolf Team ended banning up in that last phase is exactly what Paradise was looking for, but it's a part of waiting this long for your carry pickup, especially with how many carries were taken out in that second phase, where maybe if the Invoker and the Drow were swapped, it does mean that I think Soldier is just going to have a whole lot of impact on this Invoker, because otherwise you could have taken your carry a lot earlier, and then you would have seen maybe a more ideal situation play about for Paradise. But that's where the game is underway. We'll have to see what happens. I think both sides honestly have a lot to play for, but again, it is that tricore that I keep on bringing up that these NA teams like to play where they need to do well in lanes, they need to draw, and then they need to keep it prolonged. They need to wait. They can't let those trades happen too early. It's where the breakdown of the map really hurts the team that is constantly farming more.
Do want to point one thing out for you folks as we get this one underway. Wolf Team had previously been playing without 40R in the middle lane, so they had FCR and Sooths standing in for him across their various series. Apparently today they are actually playing with both of them. So I believe that means 40R and Tavo are both missing here. So I think there's been a little bit of a shift in positions because King RD was the one who took the Beastmaster. So
Yep,
he
he's
moves to
back
the
in his role.
3. FCR, I believe, is now going to play the 4 on the Tusk, and they'll have Sooths handle the puck mid.
King is back to 4. King is back to off lane, honestly, is more appropriate. It's been a while, but I mean, this is one of King Artie's classic heroes. I could totally see why they go for it. Still feel like he plays a lot of off lane in his pubs as well, even though he really has found a nice little home for himself as a 4 player, but always been a standout player in his own region. Just want to see a little bit more from the Brazilian squad. Wolf team has, we kind of talked about in the break, definitely been underperforming a little bit here. Just not been able to, I think, win a lot of those matches. It's been a lot closer than I think a lot of their fans have really wanted to see, but that's also where constant stand-ins, moving players around, not having the full roster, you throw them every excuse in the book knowing who's on that roster, but
Right.
we'll have to see. An HFN hit up super slow. Tier 2, though. Yeah, Warden doesn't want that.
Yeah. But hey, that's all of the shield burned through in HFN. This is probably not probably, definitely the smarter move. It's going to suck. Maybe the timing on your creep wave is a little bit awkward and you have to TP, but you can't come back to lane with no mana. So, yeah, it's got to make the trip all the way back. And I think that is the point, as you were saying, leading up to that little fight. If we were looking at teams in the same sort of tier 2, tier 3 section compared to Wolf Team, those teams would probably be happy where Wolf Team is right now. But you look at who is on this Wolf Team lineup, and the expectations are just naturally higher. So when we say they're underperforming, not just in general for a team like this, but this team in particular, with the names and experience that they have, realistically should probably have a little bit more in the way of wins in the last couple of months than they do. But hey, that's exactly what this Pro Series offers them the opportunity to do. Stand-ins or no stand-ins, they are going to be feeling pretty good here going up against Felt.
Yeah, and you just get to play some Dota as already the shenanigans. And I think KJ, in doing this, might have just given his life away.
Yeah.
He had to do this to make sure that that creep wave connected. Otherwise, that would have been a huge win for the Warden. And it's close, but nope. Gets the first blood. And he does keep this creep equilibrium here, not letting the Copper walk away with it. But at the same time, a little bit sad that you had to give your life away from it, even though that was 100% the smart play. And now the wave is going to push super hard into your Medusa, but just sad that you had to bite that bullet.
Right. And give up First Blood for it. If First Blood had already sort of gone one way or the other, then I think KJ really doesn't care, but the bonus gold's a bit of a bummer. And of course, HFN, pre-level 2, only having 1 point up in the shield right now. He can't really contribute to that fight either, because if he has a Mystic Snake or something, the Warden was pretty low on health himself, but just was not meant to be. He's level 2 now, though, so now he's got the Snake to work with. And that is going to make this lane much sort of harder for Fade to deal.
Yeah, it definitely will, and we'll have to see how they decide to play, because bottom, the Suicide, okay, there you go. Just overextended a little bit there and getting aggressive onto Paradise, but That's where you can never really discount what that Techies is really capable of doing. As King RD does make a breakaway here, though, with the creeps in Paradise. Might try to harass him a little bit,
It's
but
a lot of
also has to
damage.
be careful.
He's
He's
going to
gonna
get
tower,
away.
though.
All the way back to the tower. Should be able to pick up level 3 here. His teammate, meanwhile, kind of steps forward to, well, absorb a little bit of this hit. And this is actually interesting from FCR. You look at the skill build for him. Shards and the Snowball. So he doesn't have Tag Team, which I guess it gives you more potential to initiate, but the damage is going to kind of be lacking if this duo really tries to go after a kill.
Yeah, and I think a reason why he goes for that build is just not having really any items as top lane.
Fade.
Again,
I think
yeah,
he's got KJ. Yes, he does. Can he get out, though? He wants the courier, too.
got the snake.
Okay. At least he kills the courier before he dies, but I think maybe he realized. Can I get out of range of the snake? Probably not. Let's just get some extra gold, and that's 2 kills, right? In this top lane, they've taken down KJ twice. Not really able to get onto the Dusa, but you're at least going to slow her down as King RD gets picked off down bot. Now FCR, maybe he's wishing he had the tag team now. They're able to get the kill on the Techies, but it is going to cost him his life. There's a double kill for your Drow Ranger, and, well, Felt not backing down from these fights, and they are getting the better of all these trades.
Yeah, and Paradise now on that Drow Ranger, once you hit level 6, and if you can hit level 6 that much sooner, it becomes a very difficult lane for King RD. And of course, Beastmaster is hard rushing that Helm of the Dominator, so once he has that, it's going to put a lot more pressure on him. But at the same time, you have options with this much levels, and of course, getting a double kill and pretty much all the soul XP as well feels quite nice.
Paradise feeling pretty confident. Got a pair of Wraith Bands here as well, so he does hit pretty damn hard. Not a bad opening for him. At the same time, back up in the top lane, Fade is looking to grab some creeps here. Getting into the camp, pops a Firefly. For a moment there, I thought maybe he could try onto KJ again, but he really does just want to clean up that camp, and he was able to do so. So your Bad Rider is looking not too shabby here. Taking a look at his last hit count, he's just shy of 20, but I mean, you're keeping relatively even with the Medusa at this point. You got to be happy with that.
And look at the shenanigans. Yeah, kills his courier, but also says and pings out to his Snapfire, hey, can you bring the wave behind the tower again? Just because they're so afraid of the Warden taking
Oh.
it. But now KJ gonna have to hop and has to maintain aggro as well. He's not gonna burn out because, of course, level 1 Flame Break, not the greatest spell, but it's very interesting that they decided to keep on defending this creep pool by pulling it back further and further. As bottom, though, finally they get a kill onto the Techies and no trade.
Techies went down. Meanwhile, mid, there was the trade-off there of Sooths getting Solji in the 1v1, and that was a 1v1 where he didn't even use the Dream Coil. He was just able to get it done with the damage. As now, Paradise needs some help. Solji's going to TP in. There's going to be the Cold Snap into the EMP, but the defensive Snowball actually is a little mistimed. So they do still get hit by it, and Paradise is going to be able to turn around for a kill. Will still fall eventually, but at this point, King RD is not getting out of this.
Nah, but buys everything, has an Invoker in his lane. Funnily enough, the puck has actually showed up here as well, and there
Oh.
is a ward that scouted his rotation, so he probably should just walk back towards the mid lane. But you also just finished your Helm of the Dominator on the Beastmaster after those 2 kills, so he's pretty happy.
Full Dom Helm finished up. Sooths makes his way back to mid, but as he makes his way back, Paradise is here. That's just a full-on lane swap. Interesting choice. So, trying to pick up some more experience and farm. In the meantime, KJ, this is a little too far forward for you, and yeah, he is going to be punished for it. HFN. I think he was hoping that Snake could somehow find its way onto Fade. That would have been really just the maximum jump range, but it doesn't happen. And KJ, what's that, his 3rd death now? Yeah. It's a rough life for that position 5 support, but better him going down than the Dusa, but at this point, I don't really know that that death was necessary at all.
Yeah, no, it's tough. They just want to get aggressive. They almost have the kill onto the Bat Rider, but definitely trying to make one of those imaginary plays where it is just expecting a little bit too much out of everybody involved. But that's where we got our Invoker still being annoying in the bottom lane. Very annoying, but there's a smoke coming as well. Techies is probably going to go down too. No kill, and look at the coil. Oh, what a shards.
Nope. They drop the sentry as well, so that Ghost Walk isn't going to help him. He's going to get stunned up twice. And they should finish this off. King RD, well, he's only got level 1 axes. He could have thrown them in there for maybe an assist, but he wasn't going to steal the kill. However, more important aspect there, you got King RD away from the gank, you find 2 kills, and, well, now you've got 3 heroes bot. You've got a creep with the Dom Helm, and there's a tier 1 tower. Not looking too hot here health-wise, so gonna push it down.
Yeah, and you're still in that awkward position with the Invoker where do you really want to put yourself in that type of spot towards bottom? Feels kind of risky, and yeah, he just decides to TP mid, so this is already a concession of your bottom tower. Maybe the Drow is able to clean up some of the creeps that get pushed into you, but not pretty, and play mid though.
Oh, hold up,
Got the
yeah.
silence onto the puck. Perfect.
NATO comes in from long range to help that out, and Solji's the one to get the kill, so little bounce back play for the Invoker. They do still lose the tower. There's really no getting around that, ET, but the Invoker can't afford to fall too far behind. We talked about it in the draft. It's just the way Invoker always plays. You don't catch up the way other mid laners would, so very important to keep him active. But speaking of activity, what is going down in the jungle here? We've got like 4 or 5 heroes hanging out in the area, and I don't think the Techies wants to be here anymore. By the time he realizes that, it's too late.
Techies goes down, but they also get a return kill bottom onto King RD, just playing a little bit too far up on the Drow Ranger, trying to punish her for getting her boost a little bit late there, but definitely gets punished, and not just any punish, a punish into the hands of the Warden, which is now going to set him pretty much 1 creep away, yep, from getting his level 6, so hook shot, pre-10 minutes, already online, could definitely catch you off guard if you're Wolf Team.
Needs a little bit more mana, but there we go. He's got enough now, and actually he has got 10 one charges, so if he really does need it. But they've got it, and they're going to give it a go. 3-man smoke, Solji and the supports on the hunt.
Ooh.
Well, the kills come right to them. KJ, he's trying to cast literally anything here, but he's not going to get it. He goes down. They spotted FCR making his way into that Roche pit earlier. This is a very funky fight. Does he somehow die to Roche? No. The Warden cleans it up. That would have been something. But now, look at Solji. He's going to TP in, so HFN, he might be anticipating a timing based on him walking. Instead, Solji's already here. The lasso goes down. The EMP really doesn't have any mana to burn, but it gets the Warden in with the hook shots. That's an interesting attempt with the Dream Coil from Suits. Don't think it's going to be enough to save his buddy. And now the puck has to walk away. That Dream Coil is unfortunate. It has no impact on the engagement. Felt looking very good now off the turn of these last couple of fights. They're looking for more still, though. I don't know if he has the damage for this, and yeah, Soldier's going to quickly realize that, but hey. Take your shot while you have it. In the meantime, there's a push onto the tier 1 tower that they can put together to finish this tower off.
Yeah, and they did use quite a lot there. That was, I think, 2 TPs and mid. Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
problem.
Just walked into the Beastmaster, got scouted out by the Hawk, and even though the trades are being made, they are not very quick. And now your mid tower is going to die just because you are behind the exchange already. Smart rotations, as well as HFN already leaving that lane. And unfortunately, losing that mid tower so definitively, both Medusa and Drow like to play in that same fashion where they end up becoming that mid tower defender for such a long period of time. But now that the mid tower is gone, you can only really rotate into your triangle and then hope that there are stacks, hope that there are camps that keep you ahead. Because again, this is a losing battle. HFN naturally farms faster than you. Once he has maxed out split shot, he will start to explode in farm. And the only thing you can do is hope that you have better support and core rotations to keep the Drow on even footing. But without that, could get a little bit scary. Not to mention, besides the Roar being committed, their Wolf team just got their 6s on both their supports, more or less. So you've got those kisses now. You've got Coil up in 19 seconds. It's where you don't want to feed kills to those heroes because they're going to look for their free play.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the Tusk, he's a tiny bit short, but if he stands and maybe watches HFN kill a creep or two, he's going to get there, and then they've got free reign to try and push their way further across. It is kind of interesting, though, to see, while he waits for the ult to cool down, King RD has shifted all the way up to the north side jungle, so normally in this scenario, we see the Beastmaster stay focused on pushing those lanes for a pretty substantial amount of time. Not really the case here. He wants that Helm of the Overlord, and in this instance, his teammates can all really just keep the push going without him, so I suppose they can afford to have him greed out just a little bit more.
Yeah, and I think a part of it as well is just not wanting to mess with the Medusa, but damn, pause after pause after pause.
That
Soldic
one,
finally letting us free. Oh,
that
thank
one
you,
might have been
Invoker.
unintentional. uh, there we go. We are back into it. Yeah, there's been quite a few pauses. Good news is that none of them have been particularly long, so, just maybe a little server lag here and there. Nothing too serious. But at this point, look at Felt. They're so grouped up here. Well, maybe not that grouped up, but they've got like 3 heroes just watching Sooths clear out a creep wave, but I think they know they really can't afford to go on him. They either know or suspect that this backup is in position. But if they have the manpower, maybe they just try it anyway, and yeah, that's the idea. See if they can just overwhelm their opponents, but there's going to be the snowball not even being used defensively. Suits is just going to get out under his own power, but that means FCR is stuck here. Can he kill the techies? No, he can't. FCR taken down. KJ now hit up by the cold snap. That's a bit of an awkward one. If you're Wolf team, they were waiting for that exact play to try and punish it, but I don't think that they were anticipating that many heroes when they were planning out their counter.
Definitely not. And with that, the first easy punish. And I think a large part why King RD is playing top as opposed to just going for bottom is knowing very well that the easy way for him to die is to just get hookshotted. Every single time, that's what the Warden's going to look for. And if you play in a very easy to read manner, well, then the punish is going to come out, and then you're going to die, and then you're going to start losing a lot of that lead. Plus, now you get to give HFN all of this bottom area to farm. Feels pretty nice. And there's a smoke up from Wolf Team. One that feels like it could get scouted out by this mine, but no, they cut up a little bit further instead, and 10 seconds on Coil. Again, they're baiting King RD a little bit here. They know the supports want to catch him and slow him down, but they become the aggressors, and, well, Warden, he's very tanky. He's got a huge stick and a point booster, but...
Oh, they're going to use the Dream Coil. Still haven't finished him off. In fact, FCR is the one to go down first. Meanwhile, there's the Kisses being deployed, not finishing anyone off, but it does mean Paradise can no longer be involved in this fight. As he does fall back, but Solji moves forward. Cold snap onto KJ, just looking for some damage, but not going to get much more than that. And if you're Wolf Team, not the triumphant smoke gank you were hoping for, right? 3 men in, it's a 1-for-1 trade on supports, and it might be more. Does that tornado hit? No, it does not. KJ, though, kind of eyeballing it like he wants to go back in. Sooths is ready. He's going to throw out the orb. They'll jump in. There's the silence. The axes come through, too. But nobody can stick onto Solji. He's able to just walk away under his own power, and this is getting very awkward, ET. The Warden's going to throw down some cogs, but... well, Seuss is going to jump right past it. Do they have the silence?
Ooh.
No, because the Techies gets in first. That is massive. Sooth silenced up, taken down. KJ gone too, and... well, at a certain point, ET, I was starting to wonder, who's baiting whom here, but it is Felt who walk away with the win.
yeah, what a blast off. Also playing around that Tusk respawn timer perfectly. They don't stay any longer than that Tusk can come and try and fix that team fight. And for a while there, it felt like Felt were just getting bodied by King RD's Wolves. You really weren't able to kind of approach it all because of all that slow coming in from the borders, but then it ends up working out, and now
One
they
HFN.
flip. This is such a good smoke here, and now with the EMP, he will be able to get Stone Gates off, but there's the lasso, out of mana, needs a little bit more damage, but that is perfect from Felt.
Just absolute perfection on the initiation. Okay, maybe they could have done that before Stone Gaze, but honestly, this works out better because now it's been used. Nobody got caught by it, and it's on cooldown. So HFN has to be even more sort of cautious in terms of where he farms, and Felt are feeling pretty damn confident. They're going to push forward again. They had eyes on FCR. How does this snowball work? It really doesn't. He immediately gets pushed back by the cogs, and that's another kill, and Fade. There's the knockback. There's the DOT. KJ's getting caught. Seuss does drop a Dream Coil, though, around that tier 1 tower mid, but where's the follow-up damage? It's not coming out yet. The Gust actually hits up onto 2. The multi-shot comes through as well. Now he'll finally drop a Roar. It is onto the Warden as HFN respawns and TPs in. I think that should be the end of the fight, but look at everything that you had to see out from Wolf Team just to get a support kill there, whereas the rest of Felt find their targets and then back out.
Yeah, just very clean play yet again, and all time where Paradise was just farming on the Drow Ranger, and that's where you always have to eyeball that net worth. As soon as it starts to close, that's where the Drow becomes very heavily favored in this matchup, and that's also where Wolf Team, with Helm of the Overlord completed on King RD, would love to transform this map by getting an Aegis into the hands of HFN, but until they get that opening, they simply can't do it. There's a clockwork in the game. There's spam coming out from the napalms. It's almost impossible for Wolf Team to roach while Wolf Team are still there to pester them, which means this game is going to really heavily slow down. And Fel aren't having any of it. They want to keep finding plays. They want to keep on allowing the Warden to make something happen. And Warden is kind of balling out of control. He has done so well early on. And look at King RD on the low ground.
Hook
And
shot.
push back.
Push back. They get the explosive on him for the slow. King RD is just straight dead. And guess what? They take that at the perfect time because Fade now has Lasso. So if Wolf Team try any sort of return play, they're going to be fighting into those big ults, and they really just don't want it right now. I mean, Sooths has an Invis rune, but God, it would have to be a just massive sort of Waiting Rift Dream Coil combo for them to even think about this. But as they wrap around, tower is coming under attack. That tier 1 mid is in some trouble, but Sooths, he does get the Dream Coil. 4-man silence. Where's the follow-up? They need the damage. Mortimer Kiss is coming through, hitting up onto multiple heroes. They're taking him down. Paradise and Fade do fall. Can the Warden get away? He's going to try to make it out. Pigpole helping him with the move speed, but he's still getting run down, silenced and slowed. And Seuss will be the one to finish the job. So, ET said it had to be a massive Waning Rift Dream Coil combo. That's about as big as it gets.
Yeah, and unfortunately now, well, you need to be dead first, but they're going to try and press the issue here. Without Beastmaster, though, and King already has to make a little bit of a walk. This is a little bit difficult, and FCR didn't want to die to another Roshan, but I think now, again, with King RD not immediately coming to the pit, this is going to be contestable. This is close, and Tornado EMP's ready. This is going to hit everyone.
Techies.
Oh, no!
Oh, that's mistimed. He did get the disarm at least, so they do have to still slow it down as the Meteor does come into the pit, but boy, oh boy. ET, if that blast off is a little bit better timed, I think you kill at least one, maybe even two there. Oh. Man. Everything's kind of falling apart for Felt a little bit here as the hookshot misses.
Yeah, they gotta kind of calm down a little bit. They know how low the Roche is. They still have been napalming it, still flaring it. This is very tight. That region around HFN is ridiculous, but yeah, Coil came back up during that entire time. Oh,
That's a big tornado, though. That's going to reset the fight with the EMP just a little bit. But Fade's still dropping. They're not going to be able to save him. Paradise maybe can get some sort of kill here. No, he can't. He's got to try to run. They are making their retreat, but look at... Oh, God, Seuss. Look at him. He goes a little bit too far forward, actually. And all of a sudden, Wolf Team have lost just about everybody. It's really only the Medusa still standing.
And he's dead?
He has no mana. Look at the pushback from the Warden. HFN's going to get taken down. KJ... I'm not entirely sure where that cookie was supposed to be pushing him, but where it ended up was bad. And the Warden, he got 4 of those 5 kills, ET. I don't know how, genuinely, but he did.
Hey, the Warden's the hard carry of this team, apparently, now, and they will go into the pit, and with a 2,160 HP Warden, this is going to be a Roche now in the opposite direction. Just push the envelope a little bit too much, and yeah, overextend, die, give a whole bunch of kills to the Warden in Paradise, and suddenly your draw has an Aegis. Man, Felt are just in such a great position in this game after what felt like a few misplays, a few missed abilities, but then they turn it around and make this game feel even more even to the advantage of Felt, I'd say.
Right, I mean, yeah, if we count up some of the misplays there, right? The Tornado is mistimed with your blast off. The Warden didn't hit his first hook shot. You lost Fade pretty early in that engagement too, and you still just win the fight anyway, because Paradise was able to sort of just kite out the entirety of the Wolf Team lineup, and the Warden was just wreaking havoc on the backline. I think that's been the big problem here for Wolf Team. They're still operating like this is a sacrificial, suicidal clockwork, whereas the Warden is genuinely trying to kill you, not just lock you down or push you away.
Yeah, and he kind of has the lead to do it at this point. Hero level wise, he is right up there with not only all the cores in his team, but also the cores on Wolf Team's side. He is honestly a core at this point, and he has an Aghanim Scepter to boot coming on the courier. Not to mention 10 kills, you know, why not? Ward is just kind of carrying, I want to say, not necessarily his team, but just the game, making it so much simpler for her to play. and especially making the Drow's life that much easier. Because with that failed aggression, now Wolf Team feel like they're behind, and they're playing like they're behind as well. They're just not looking. They're not gunning for those same plays. They have all their ultimates right now, and instead they're just farming and looking for, I think, some more item timings, especially on HFN. And there is quite a big item timing whenever you do get that Scotty finished. It's where you could probably very easily kill Paradise twice. But in the same breath, Paradise has an Aegis. They're getting just as much aggression onto their tier 2, and they're coming back to defend bottom.
Okay, TPs are in. The Warden's the one to start off the fight. HFN, though, did get off his ult, but he's getting bounced around a little bit now as well. This is getting kind of awkward. He is able to at least retreat for the time being, though, but who makes the next move? Look at Paradise pushing in. Seuss is going to try for the Dream Coil, though. It does connect onto 2. The Mortimer Kisses are going to fly through as well into the Roar out from King RD. I think they're starting to turn this one around. 2 kills now for KJ. They need to be able to take out the Drow at least once, though, but Paradise is still living. There we go. The axes will fly through. That does take him down, and now I think they're set up to try for him again, but the Cookie Stun will miss. Paradise resets. Solji, though, still in a little trouble under the tower, but Seuss doesn't want to take that fight under a tier 2, but with his teammates coming up behind him, ET, yeah, it's either a fight or the tower. Take your pick if you're felt, and they're just going to sacrifice their tier 2.
And Glyph comes through, though, and they've got these Hawks, though. They gotta be careful. Because Hawks don't stun anymore. Instead, they root, so a little bit nerfed, but definitely annoying. And
there's the root.
There you go. He's rooted. He's taking a lot of damage on the Invoker. Hawks gotta leave, so this has to get passed over to the rest of the lineup, but I think they should just look to walk away right now. They're even pinging out the Outpost just to be a little bit scared in case the Clockwork wants to make some crazy play happen, but yet again, Wolf Team pretty much solely carried there by the Puck's Dream Coil, just found the Bat Rider, unable to get any lasso off, also killing the Warden, not only before he got his Aghanim Scepter delivered to him, but also very low mana on the Clockwork. Definitely not the fight they were looking for. And then you're stuck getting carried by your Drow Ranger and your Invoker, who are lacking a lot of that control. And there you go, Ags, showing off onto King RD.
Looks his way onto that. Sunstrike. Well, it was in there, but it doesn't really matter all that much. They had the kill one way or another, so. Okay. Shiny Ags being showed off there as they find themselves a pick, and Wolf Team are going to have to be very careful at this point, right? Because that Clockwork was already just coming after you repeatedly, but oh, now he's got so much more to work with in terms of his utility, his damage, his mobility. You can't really just brush off this Clockwork as an annoyance. He is an actual kill threat. So Wolf Team maintaining numbers as they make their way mid. They're going to try to hold their tier 1 tower. Never mind. That did not work. Already down.
Yeah, just died so quickly. Not much you can do, but that's where we are going to, again, start to slow down a little bit. And there is still a gap, and that's your Scotty finished on HFN. Would not be surprised to see Wolf Team maybe get aggressive next nighttime, but that's where I do think that we are going to see just a bit of a pause that would benefit really both sides. I think you're going to want the BKB finished up on the Drow and the Bat Rider before you look for that next engagement. It's where BKBs are very important in this game, especially versus Wolf Team. It's where you can invalidate a lot of what Seuss has been doing and he has to do for his team. It is kind of tough, though, because you are also still playing versus a Beastmaster, but that's where multiple BKBs is your solution. It's where having one BKB never really feels too great, but yeah, the mind's got it off the smoke. That's the question here. Very defensive position, though, right now.
Oh, it looks like at this point, yeah, he's just kind of going to break that smoke kick himself. And Seuss, he cannot really afford to be taken down here. He is holding out for the time being as the Warden does get hit up by that Stone Gaze, and it looks like they're doing okay so far on the side of Wolf Team. They found 2. They would really love Solji, though, but I don't know if they have detection. They throw a sentry down now, but it's a little bit too far back. Yeah. Oh, hold on. They did spot him there. Dream Coil comes in. They do.
Still can't see him. It's.
Oh, they still need detection, and he's just gonna TP home.
Oh, on the
Wait,
Hawk, the root. Oh.
How unbelievably fortunate. Solji, go buy a lotto ticket, my man, because that's what 3 times where realistically speaking they could have gotten him, and he still gets away.
Just a little bit too close for comfort. And hey, you do lose both supports for nothing there, but It's very fortunate that they actually decided to make that play onto the Invoker. If any of those spells landed on the Bat Rider or the Drow, we wouldn't be saying the same thing. Here's the only one that could be react in that situation.
Hmm.
And you are still losing this tier 2 top most likely, just because of how that fight did end up panning out for you. But at least you didn't lose the cores.
And there goes the tower. Yeah, as you say, the core survived, but, well, the Warden got taken down pretty quickly there, so too did the Techies. Of course, part of that was that they did march right into a Stone Gaze, as that is a hell of an initiation in onto the Warden. They take him down, and the Techies, now he's stuck in the middle of this as well. The Dream Coil is deployed onto him just to make sure they get the kill. Dream Coil for Techies is very aggressive, but it works, and as you say, yeah, that's both of the supports dead with no buyback, and Fade just uses BKB. This is very awkward. He's getting slowed up by that Scotty. Stone Gaze, though, was deployed, so now it was not deployed. It was. I'm looking at an illusion. I'm an idiot. It's fine. He used Stone Gaze.
But the reason why this tier 3 is under so much threat is they did kind of waste their glyph. They glyphed for that tier 2 top to try and delay, thinking that Wolf Team would just back off, but then when they get those 2 support kills, their glyph is, of course, back now. They got the first tier 3 of the game, but there is a tier 3 gone now. Wolf Team have an easy way to get onto that next objective. Just a slight misplay, I think, from Feldon. Of course, old glyph, that would have been the smart choice, but not this time around, and we'll have to see. Very dangerous. Spells are coming back off cooldown for Wolf Team as well, and there's still no BKB on Fade, but does he get the lasso?
Yep.
There you go.
Lasso onto Suits. They find the first kill. FCR now dead as well. Techies, okay, he does get the illusions, not the actual hero, though, but they're still chasing. They're looking for KJ here, who kind of goes in to finish the kill onto Fade. That's not a bad play, but in the context of already having lost 2 teammates, it does kind of swing that even more in Feld's favor, especially considering I do believe that was a triple kill. Paradise got all 3 of those ET, so that gap between him and the Medusa does get a little bit narrower. He's got the shard as well for the hypothermia stacks.
Yeah.
It's a little bit more dangerous.
Hypothermia, it's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool status effect, but also just buys a full BKB. So now you are out of the danger zone, and triple BKB on all of the cores on the Felt side. Well, Suits is really going to have to wait now. It's where you do have to rely on King RD. And you almost wish that he has a blink, but yeah.
And they really do
Medusa, super slow, a lot of mana. Just popped the Manta as well.
Oh, the Warden just hooked in. They're going to be able to catch out another off to the side. It's FCR that they hit up, but they really do need to be focused on the Medusa right now. They're burning through a lot of the mana shield, but they need to be able to finish her off. Down to about half HP. Paradise with the BKB active pushing forward. Sunstrike coming in. It's not enough damage, and they have to back off because now that BKB is going to wear off, and they don't want to get caught. As
they see her. Suits,
he was still silenced. That's a very awkward play, but he does still get the Dream Coil down. Where is the backup? Snowball's going to come in. They get the Shard Trap as well, but FCR gets knocked back. Now he's taken down. It's just too broken up. Wolf Team needed to be on that play immediately, and there was just no one close enough.
Yeah, and Solji there committing his own BKB, just playing that cutoff angle, not allowing anybody to pass by him. He says, you have to stand here, fight me. Keeps everybody out of the fight going any further, and, well, they all survive. It is a little bit awkward because there is a buyback on the Techies who just wanted to join in that fight if the Drow was maybe in slightly more dire straits. But play dies down. Now we get a full reset out from both sides, and Roche is only 35 seconds away.
There's a mine in the pit, so the second Roche is up, they're going to know about it. I believe... Is that a hawk? Yeah, it flew over. It's not quite in, but it should be around the same time that Roche respawns where they're still going to have that vision. So both teams should know pretty damn quickly. It's just a matter of who can take control of the pit first.
In 14 seconds, we'll have to see. Of course, you've got mines, you've got hawks. Both teams will be aware instantly whenever that Roche respawns. And then it's just a matter of who is prepared, whose item timings look clean enough with it. And top, yeah. Suits, what a hook.
Hook shot, battery assault, pushback, EMP, burning the mana. No, it's not. He's able to dodge it. So Seuss will live, but FCR is going into the fight. Yeah, I don't think he really wanted to do that. He was hoping to just save the puck, but he's actually going to get saved himself. Now, look at Seuss going back in. Dream Coil onto 2. Here comes the Dusa, popping that ult, looking for the fight. The Deafening Blast, though, did push him back, and the Steckies Goes for the blast off play. It's not really going to work as he will fall. Now Solji's in
Ooh.
trouble. Do they have detection this time? Yes, they do. They came prepared with the dust. And HFN will clean it up. So they go from attempting a play onto Sooths to losing 2, maybe 3, because Paradise...
No TP. Oh, if
Mm-hmm.
they scout him out, he's stuck up here for another 15
They
seconds. They
see
see
him.
him. Oh,
He's going to pop
no.
his BKB. He just has to try and fight. Is anyone coming to help him, though? No. He'll at least get FCR, and that's certainly a nice play, but he is still going to die here.
No, it's a hell of a fight, but then you also see that HFN didn't even care. He was already making his way into the pit, but what a mistake from Paradise. And now this should just be a free Aegis onto the Medusa. Oh, man. If they just were a little bit more patient and then instead played for the reset and maybe the Roche contest, I feel like Felt would have gotten the team fight that they were looking for, but instead, this is just free. Just a classic mid-game mistake.
And the Warden, I think this is the point where he needs to maybe do a little bit of reevaluating of his position, right? We were talking him up, playing so well. He's a genuine threat to get kills. That was true at the time. Now it's a little bit less clear-cut that he can actually get those kills, and we saw it play out there, right? They hook in on to the puck. They think just Clock and Invoker is going to be enough damage to get the kill, and when that's not the case, you get punished so incredibly heavily. So the Warden's still having a hell of a game, 10-5 and 16, but as we get into the mid-game, if that play goes wrong, the consequences are going to get more and more dire.
Yeah, it's not pretty. And now, well, getting aggressive, pushing in onto the mid tower, getting all this damage done. Of course, Glyph did come back up. Felt we'll have that for their next push, or in response to the next push from Wolf Team, but they're just back, full confidence, and then you wonder if this Drow matchup is really going to be enough. It just sucks so hard, because every single time Paradise is only 2,000 or 3,000 net worth away, it just ends up being an unfortunate team fight that ends up putting him so far behind. Because now we are back to that huge gap in between the two heroes. And you're not really getting items on Paradise either. It's an unfortunate circumstance where he's not really able to push off the side lanes. Not as good as his two teammates here, but look. Oh no, the Lincolns! It just got bought! Faye doesn't get the lasso.
Well, the Warden gets taken down in the bottom lane at the same time. And now Fade, he's just got to try to get away, but he realizes he's got to cancel that TP, but that means he and Solji, they're both just stuck here. Trying to use their BKBs to get out, but it's not going to work. Fade dead first. Solji should follow. And even that EMP doesn't connect. Asus was able to just dodge it with the phase shift. So they lose 3 heroes in total across the map, ET, and that timing is unbelievable. Just the worst sort of setup there as their initiation just falls apart.
Yeah. You buy a Lincoln Sphere, you get lassoed, they both die. It's really just miserable, and that does mean that the Drow Ranger was able to leave the base. She got freed from the high ground, which is, I guess, your one benefit for losing both the Batrider and the Invoker, but here we go. We've got the push, we've got the Thunderhide as well, going to give 70 attack speed over to HFN, and well, there goes your building. Glyph Force as well. No buyback, well, on the Batrider at least, but you're not going to want to buy back. It's that awkward timing we always talk about. 20 seconds left. You do not want to be forced into this position, but this means that this is almost certainly going to be a free set of racks.
You saw the Warden activating the overclocking there, just spamming out those flares as often as he could, but it just didn't matter. They're just going to keep on barreling their way through. And I don't think they can come forward. Okay, never mind. They did kill off the Hawk, so that's a little bit less of a threat now, but
Here we go.
can't really push into HFN, so instead they try for the back line. The blast off is going to be in there. The hook shot did hit further to the north, but they're just not really getting anyone. There we go. They will get FCR. There's your first kill. Now they want HFN. Can they lock him down? Trying to get that first life. They haven't done so yet, but there's the last bit of damage. Paradise connects. But can they kill him a second time? I really don't think so. They're going to try and back themselves out now. Well, the techies didn't get that memo, apparently. He just dives back in and gets taken out. It's a bit of a strange one for the techies, but hey, he's dead for 40 seconds. His teammates, though, still need to try and hold here, because if Wolf Team go back in, things could get a little bit dicey, but doesn't look like they're going to make that play just yet.
And you still have Lasso, but you also still have BKB on the Medusa. I feel like that's where we might just see them instead be a little bit chill here, but that's also where Coil...
Oh god, Zeus, no chill at all. He just goes
Yeah.
straight in. Okay, Fade gets taken down, and oh, Fade, he does not have money for buyback. He's dead for over a minute. This could be a second lane. HFN's got to be careful once the BKB wears off, though, but who's going to jump him, right? Fade would have been the guy. I guess the Warden could try, but he is going to try. He hits up onto Seuss. Can they take him down? No. Defensive snowball buying time. Seuss still stunned, though. Knocked back by the cogs, and he does go down.
Medusa needs help. You need to get out now. If you get caught by any of the Invoker spells, could be a free kill. And
The roar! That's a problem. They have to save Paradise. They can't let him die, but there's just no defensive spells. Paradise dead. Gone for 80. Buyback available. Do they buy back? Because if they don't, they could lose a second lane. They could lose Solji, too. He's really got to get himself out of here. The root comes in onto him, but he's able to make his retreat, but now he's going to get caught. Force Staff into stun, into Scatterblast to take him down. Buyback's now coming through. They feel desperation starting to set in as they look for the fight. KJ's going to get silenced up, taken down, but the Warden, he needs to hit this hook shot. Can he get anyone?
He's blind. He has to do it into the dark if he wants it. He has a flare in 2 to maybe make a call here, and they do scout out the Beastmaster. And looking.
There's the vision. There's the hook, but it hits the creep.
And they're out. Oh, boy.
Oh, man. That's... I don't know if that was intentional from HFN, but I'm going to give him credit for it either way. Just hits up that camp a little bit. That draws the aggro, and that creep just steps 2 steps forward. It's enough to get in the way. Don't know if they would have killed HFN anyway, but they don't even get the chance to try.
Yeah, just unable to make it happen, and now, well, we're going to see a little bit of a reset, but a reset that is heavily going to favor Wolf Team, and you already see the chasm now of net worth that those buybacks have thrown into Wolf Team's favor. And those next items, the only one coming through is going to be that Scotty on Drow Ranger, and that could be enough to change the tides of this battle, but aside from that, everybody else is completely halted in their growth. That is the last item that Feld will probably be able to get before Wolf Team are just knocking on the front door again. And, oh, well, there's your techies. Probably just dead again. Ghost Scepter to try and survive, and he's going to get a blast off, just a matter of which direction, and not even. Just taken down. Taser being a little annoying for the Medusa, but still not enough to survive. And you're 25 now on HFN, so you've got that attack and modifier talent. All they're looking for now is a wave. They do have to be careful, because they are set up. The gang squad's top, but I feel like now Doomsday is arriving, and here we go.
Yeah, they're TPing back now. They realize their base is under attack. They've got to defend it. There's going to be an EMP. That takes about half the mana away. Now they get the lasso, but there's the punch. Walrus Punch throws them up in the air. They won't get the pullback. There's going to be a hookshot in from the Warden, but no one is really doing damage other than Paradise. It's a hell of a lot of damage, though. They take down King RD. But what else can they get? As of right now, nothing. There's going to be the Dream Coil connecting. Paradise, though, still firing away from the high ground, trying to get onto HFN, but in that damage battle, it seems like HFN kind of wins it. As Seuss jumps onto the backline, gets the silence.
Oh,
I don't know about this snowball, though. FCR doesn't really have any backup at the moment. He is going to get taken down. The melee racks did fall, though, as you say, so they were making space, but it's not quite enough. The ranged racks is still standing. It's not much of a buffer, but it's not Megas just yet.
Yeah, they've got a little bit more time in. You actually got to be pretty careful here on HFN. He has absolutely no mana. He has to find some way to get onto these creeps or even just go back to the well. And yeah, we'll just go back to the fountain. But you have time now. You've bought yourself another push. Of course, you are just one step away from being mega creeps. You do have Glyph, though, so this next push might not be as clean as Wolf Team really want it to be, but you get to play out on these waves a little bit easier for the time being, and let's see, Roche, what do you have in store for us? And it will be a very fast timer. Okay, this could be a moment where Felt can actually take the fight around the pit as opposed to defending their final range tracks just because of the virtue of it being so soon. So honestly, a huge opening for Felt.
It is worth noting, though, you look at FCR, he got the Aghanim Scepter, so he has the Walrus Kick. I think they, well, now they definitely know it, as Techies just jumps in. The Warden went for the hook. He hooked onto creeps. This is going to get a little awkward, and Techies, I don't know if he's making out of this one, but Solji's the real target. The Roar is there. So much for their chance to contest Roshan. At this point, they don't have the manpower. Well, that's an interesting use of Stone Gaze. I think he assumed there was going to be a bigger fight there to really push into, but that's not the case. However, Roche is back up, coming up as we speak, and if Felt really don't have the means to contest it, they got everyone back to the base at least. That's going to be very useful, but they don't have buybacks. They only have 3 heroes, and at this point, Wolf Team realizing that say, we don't need Roche. Let's just get Megas. There's going to be the push. Not a whole lot about this is particularly dramatic, although, never mind. There's going to be a lasso. They get the pull back. How far can he take the Medusa? Well, maybe now you wish you had gone for Roshan, because HFN is dead with no second life. They did finally manage to finish off that Rax, though, so at least there's that, but they need to kill Paradise. If they can do that, maybe then this will end the game. Paradise, though, still fighting, but there's going to be the roar into the kisses. They will find the kill. And that might just be the end of it. Seuss is going to lead this charge now. They don't have HFN, but they may not need him if they can clean up all the kills. Techie's down. The Warden dropping. Not dead just yet, though, but Fade does go down off to the west. He does have a buyback, however, he's going to rejoin as the Warden goes in, takes down Seuss. I don't even know, ET. They're not dead yet, I suppose, although Fade, Jesus, he is bold. So too is the Techies. They just jump in again. Fade, where's his moment? He's waiting for a blink. He's waiting for a hell of a long time.
And unfortunately, I don't know, the Invoker's been able to respawn, but it just feels like this is a little bit too much to contest with right now as the Megas start pouring in, but they've got Beastmaster, and they've actually held. Okay, they've done it. They've managed to keep their head above water for the time being, but these cards do need to go, and they will refocus here. Well, it got scared for a second as well, because he still had the Thunderhide, gave him a little bit of attack speed, but with that, the creeps get cleared. They are 100% Megas. They do need the Drow Ranger back alive pretty much yesterday. Otherwise, this game is still pretty scary for them to play, but okay. We still got a little bit more game to play here. No GG's thrown, as they did feel like they could at least muster something of a defense, and it's not pretty. It's not easy. I'm watching the Techies right now dancing with the laser, the taser, just making sure that those are getting disarmed, but okay, maybe it's time to buy a Maelstrom on the Invoker.
Yeah, they need a way to clear through this. He just bought a Hex instead, which doesn't do you a whole lot of good against the creeps, but Hex on Medusa, Hex on Puck, maybe, would be a game changer. What do we got from the Drow, though? His buyback's still on cooldown for a minute, although at this point, I was going to say, you know, does he save for buyback or go for an item? He's only got 1,700 gold ET, so I don't really think he can do either one of those. But at least he's alive. That's going to put a lot of their damage back in. But, yeah. There was that Roche attempt we were talking about earlier on. 2 lives on HFN. Does he want the Ags for himself? Looks like no. They're dropping some stuff. There we go. Item management. But it does give an Ags upgrade over to the Puck as the Warden. He's going to jump straight in. They got the stun onto 2. Quick kill onto FCR. Can they get Seuss as well? Yes, they can. But whole different story going after HFN with 2 lives. But since they've taken away his backup, they feel confident going in. They need to wait out this Lotus Orb, though. But once it wears off, maybe Fade can get in there. But he doesn't actually make his move. And now Paradise, you got to be a little bit careful. You have only 1 life. The Medusa has 2. Can't afford to kill himself to try and make that play happen, as they are backing themselves away, trying to regroup. There was a buyback that came out from FCR, so he is back into the engagement. But honestly, if you're Felt, that was pretty good.
And now you have buyback on the Drow as well that you can dangle in front of your opponents. And to make that play knowing that if they let the Medusa walk into the base while they don't have Glyph, Wolf Team could just try to end it like that. But at the same time, with the Puck going down, I think Wolf Team aren't going to feel confident to make another aggressive play. So we've bought at least another 50 seconds here for Felt to not just finish up some of these items, but also get buyback on some of the heroes that are maybe closing in. A lot of heroes are just on timer instead, so still not the best situation. And actually, he just bought out the Shadow Blade. So Paradise really wants the Silver Edge. Just try to stop that split shot from even coming through and affecting his team at all. But Fade,
well,
oh, kickback. Another fight. Oh no, everybody's dying.
Yeah, the supports went in. I don't think they wanted to be here, but now they've got to go. Paradise is pushing his way up. How much can he do? Multi-shot coming in. FCR may go down to that, but no. He is going to be able to make it out, but look at the Gust onto HFN. That forces out his Manta. Solchi, meanwhile, that's an attempt. Tried to snipe it with the Tornado, but not going to happen. In the meantime, they do pull back. The problem is they pull back without fade, and that is kind of big. There's no lasso threat anymore. They've got to try and hold anyway. Here comes HFN looking to end the game. The Warden, though, is going to hook in. Does he go for the knockback? Yes, he does. That's a lot of damage, though. The break does come through, but even if they kill HFN once, they've got to get him a second time.
Oh,
Paradise. Well,
and that's the game.
yep. GG called. It was looking pretty good for a second there. He really was burning through a lot of that health, but the stun comes in, he gets locked down, and that's just going to be the end of it.
Oh boy. And yet again, just the NA squad just making some pretty basic mistakes about around the Roche pit and the Roche timing, either not scouting it out or letting one or two pickoffs happen, not saving for buyback. I feel like we've seen Felt, Five Rat, Dog Champ, The Cut. We've all seen these teams just make this mistake where they just end up giving a free Roshan to the opposing team, and then they end up in that much more difficult of a game. It's kind of sad to see because from our position, of course, we get to be the observer. We get to look out from ahead, so it doesn't end up looking too hard to call. But of course, in game, there's a lot more pressure and there's a lot more feelings going on. But yeah, it's tough because it just feels like you kind of just got a free Aegis or two thrown into you. Got a few situations that just ended up being too much, where I felt like that game could have been much closer with just maybe a little bit more patience from Felt.
Yeah, I mean, they had opportunities, right? There was so much damage coming out from Paradise. Unfortunately, I don't have a post-game screen here, so not going to be able to look at the exact stats, but they were closer than I think a lot of people will think that they were just looking at the end game, the score and the result. But close is good, but if you're Felt, you really do need to be able to close that one out and simply, or not close it out, but sort of make that full comeback happen, and they simply couldn't.
Yeah, and I think they had a lot of things, a lot of interesting things going for them. It was cool to see the Drow Ranger into the Medusa matchup. It was interesting to see them try to make the Warden's clockwork work, and hell, it worked for a good portion of that game. Man was killing it. That was one of the more fun four-position performances I think we've seen in the tournament. But that's where once those hard decisions are left to be made, you're still playing versus Medusa again, coming into that type of game. Your margin for error is basically zero. And I think
Yeah.
the only thing maybe they could have done better early on is maybe just look to avoid a few more of those fights early where that coil did just kind of ruin everything for them. And they allowed, I think, Zeus to have too much of that early impact on the puck, which of course then buys space for Medusa. And then, of course, the Roche stuff, time to forget about it. But that's where there is a game two. And I do think that if we have a very similar draft here from Felt, this was a close game. Despite it all, I think this is where skill-wise, these teams are kind of matching up right now. And say maybe Wolf team slightly underperforming and Felt slightly overperforming, but I definitely think we could have a pretty good game two here.
Game two is going to be interesting no matter what. Let's just hope that it also gets to be competitive at this point. But we are going to be moving into that second game in just a little bit here. Of course, before we do so, ET, we do need to get in, some good old-fashioned ad reads, because, I mean, got to keep the lights on somehow. But it is time to talk to you folks once again about HyperX and the Armada 25 FHD gaming monitor. You've heard it before if you've been here, but let's remind you anyway. 24.5-inch FHD IPS monitor, so many letters, but the IPS panels has the highest color gamut, so you're going to be getting very high quality graphics, high quality colors in your games. A 240 hertz refresh rate, which is absolutely ridiculous, and a 1 millisecond response time. So it is a very impressive piece of hardware. Also comes with that desk mount. You can see it in the graphic. That's not just for show. You do get that with the monitor as well. So you can set that up to, clear some desk space a little bit. Why not? But if you want to get your hands on this monitor, it is coming very, very soon here, and you can get yourself a bit of a discount. You can use the code HXBTSArmada to get 20% off, or up to 20% off MSRP. You can also click on the banner below the video player or click on the link in chat. So thank you very much to HyperX. Take advantage of that offer. It runs through October 7th if you want to get that monitor. And we are going to be stepping aside here for just a little while. Game two, though, coming up in just a few minutes.